Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yep, you're a little loud. Let me turn you down here.
I have made no changes on my side. So,
Okay, I just made a change on my side, and the volume is a little lower. So, what's up?
oh, nothing. Just normal life.
We're expecting some heavy weather here shortly.
And the Ohio EMA has been talking on the scanner to all the counties, getting them prepared, I guess. I guess they're expecting stuff, bad stuff.
Well, we've been told that we're just expecting very heavy rain here. Um, what does EMA stand for?
Emergency management. I'm not sure what the A stands for. It's
Okay.
Emergency Management Association. That's not right. It's a government thing. So
Okay. Another one of those government three-letter organizations.
I could Google it real fast. Uh, Exponential moving average. No, I don't think that's right. Agency. There, that's easy.
Okay.
Emergency Management Agency.
Okay. And
Um,
what are they, what kind of scare tactics are they spreading around now?
uh, in general, um, they usually show up after the fact. Um, Help clean up disasters or whatever. But
Oh, okay.
they do
That's
have
helpful.
well, they do have like the tornado warning system and some of those other warning systems. So they track the weather and they try to keep everybody appraised. So I guess they're kind of associated with the National Weather Service,
Okay.
but uh they're the emergency portion, and they don't just deal with weather. So if you've got a gas leak somewhere, you might see EMA
Okay.
out at a gas leak, or if you've got um, some other disaster that's large, they might show up. Like when the train crashed up in wherever that was and spilled all that toxic stuff. EMA was there because it was an environmental disaster.
Okay.
So, um, and a few years ago, as weird as it sounds, I was at it was kind of a survivalist bunker uh convention, and EMA was there trying to sell underground bunkers.
Okay.
It- it- Funded by Ohio. You would pay if you had the room for them. Um, you would have to pay for the digging out of everything and all that, but you could get these shelters for like $1,000, $1,500.
Uh-huh.
Because the government funded most of the cost for them,
Interesting.
and I guess that's thing that they do.
So this would be good for tornadoes and that sort of thing.
Well, I think that that's what they were um, saying that they were for, but they were at a survivalist thing.
So
So
this is the implication is this is a bomb shelter.
kind of yes. That was the impression that I got was when the government comes to get you, stay in your government provided shelter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay, now I'm curious what I missed.
Yes, you missed it. It's over. It's done. No, we were talking about the weather, and uh, many years ago, I was one of my friends and me went to a survivalist. I don't know what it was a
Camp out?
convention. It was a convention of sorts. I mean, there a bunch of vendors and stuff were trying to sell you things, and the Ohio EMA was there trying to sell shelters, underground shelters.
Nice.
Yeah, and they were cheap, like cheap. If you had a backyard and were willing to have it surveyed and dug up and whatever, you could get one of these shelters for like 1,000, $15, 1,500.
Really?
Yeah, they were cheap.
That
But
sounds almost like a scam.
well, you you
what
you
was your
think
first hint?
you think about it though, how much are you really paying? Because I mean, it's taxpayer funded stuff, right? You, the EMA is a government agency, so the taxpayers are fronting the bill for most of that.
So that makes it not a scam?
Oh, no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you're not really saving anything by buying it from the government. You're
Yeah, I've seen a bunch of YouTube presentations recently about various types of underground bunkers that can be put in. These are everything from things which would you'd be able to hide from a tornado with three people to small cities, so to speak.
yeah.
And
Well, from what I recall, these were pretty nice shelters. They three or four people and lots of food. You could just stockpile it full of food and supplies.
okay.
So they really were, I mean, I think it was meant for tornadoes, but it really was a survivalist kind of shelter. I mean,
Hmm.
something something bad happens, you're going to go underground. Maybe.
Well, if I look at the aftermath of the tornadoes down in the Oklahoma and Missouri and Texas area, you know, it would have been nice to have some kind of an underground shelter there because anything that was above ground was just destroyed.
Yeah.
And they seemed to, for some reason or another, tornadoes seem to target trailer parks. I mean, you just see these mobile home things, and they're just picked up. Now, it may be because um, they're more dramatic and vulnerable and so forth and so on. And they make clickbait on the news. Okay, so I mean, it's
I have lived in three, four different mobile home parks, and I can tell you when the weather comes and when the wind blows really bad, you feel it. It shakes the trailers, but they at least two of the trailers I lived in they had spikes and big um they weren't chains, but kind of like the wire, um
Tie
telephone
down
pole
straps.
wire, tie down straps. And these spikes were probably 7, 8 foot down in the ground. So, I mean, it would have to be a pretty violent storm to pull that out. But
On the other side of that, it was sitting on top of a couple of concrete blocks that were 4 feet in from the edges. So
yeah,
it's easy to get moving a little bit. They
yeah,
tend to sit up off the ground.
yeah.
So
And with,
yeah, I
yeah.
and God hates trailer parks. Uh,
And,
I I
well,
lived in a trailer twice and I truly enjoyed it, but it was also lengthwise to the prevailing wind.
yes, that's been my experience. Um, three of the parks that I lived in were pretty much out on flat, open ground, just straight, flat, open ground. And wind just picks up speed on that stuff. It just, and you know it, you feel it. So, um, I'm not sure that trailer that you know tornadoes actually targeted. I just think they're built where tornadoes go.
Yeah,
Well, it is a less expensive option for housing than classic fixed house, single family house with a basement and so forth and so on. Um,
And
and go
yeah,
ahead.
well, I was going to say, and relatively speaking, they are extremely lightweight. I mean,
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah, absolutely.
so a a house being able to withstand a storm isn't really a fair comparison. It because trailers are, they're lightweight. Cars can't, but semi trucks can pull them behind them. I mean, they're not that heavy. So,
Well, my mother-in-law, long deceased, um, had one in Southern California, Huntington Beach specifically. It was double wide, and it was very, very nice. I
yeah,
mean, for her purposes, I mean, she was a widow, uh, so for her purposes, it was ideal and very cost effective. And she could not have afforded a single family conventional. On the other hand, the area where she was, I don't think has had a tornado in the last 500 years. So, I mean,
re
if
relatively
it,
safe.
it's a question, it's a question of what are the odds?
Well,
Now, in this part of the country, we get tornado warnings fairly frequently. As a matter of fact, I think we're under one. Uh, there's various levels. They have, the warning and then the more serious warning and more serious. And uh, we hear the siren going off here periodically. They have a honking big siren that goes off when we're under tornado warning. Very much like, I don't know if you're old enough to remember this or not, but volunteer fire department horns that would go off. Then the idea there was when it went off, if you were a volunteer fireman, fire person, Uh, you listened to your radio and headed for wherever the fire was.
Yeah.
And the same thing was true of the tornado thing. And over here, just slightly east of us, a couple of years ago, they had some pretty serious damage. This was going out 130. I don't remember what the town is out there, but they had a lot of serious damage there from tornadoes. So what do we got here?
It looks like the heaviest is going to be somewhere between 7 and 8.
Pretty warm weather for February.
I'm not complaining.
Yeah, it's well, if it was cold, we'd be looking at snow, but here we're looking at rain. So
Well, I was looking because I think that's what EMA was doing. They were testing the radio system and everything. Because I thought I had saw somewhere that we were under a tornado warning, not a warning, maybe a watch, but weather.com doesn't say that, so I don't know. But I thought I saw somewhere that it said that. So, but
well, I assume that you hear the tornado warnings down in where you are, Steve.
Not often.
No, not often. I agree, but occasionally.
I mean, having lived here and having lived in California, I'd rather have tornadoes than earthquakes.
Oh,
Earthquakes
really?
affect 100,000 people at a time. Tornadoes affect 20. I mean, yeah,
This
they
is
might flip
true.
a trailer or two over, but generally speaking, they don't mess with a lot of people at one time.
Well, that's true. That's definitely true. Well, having lived in California for 45 years, 46 years, um, I will say that the serious earthquakes that will do damage, are fairly infrequent, but they're pretty serious when they happen. We did, we were living in California when the Bay Area got hit by, well, basically part of the Bay Bridge went down and so forth and so on. And they killed a few people in that.
Ow.
Pardon?
Ow. When I was out there in San Clemente, I do remember one. It was a really small earthquake, but part of the hillside slid down onto I-5 and killed two people in a car. So yeah, maybe sometimes earthquakes do take out singles.
Yeah. Well, in the Bay Area there, we're, we're sitting right smack on the San Andreas
Yeah.
fault, and east of that, just a few miles, is the Hayward Fault. And so, and by the way, we paid for every year a fairly substantial number of bucks for earthquake insurance. Um, we were in an area where we could get earthquake insurance, and it was a pretty significant bite, as I recall.
I think it's a matter of what you're prepared for. Because California's they get earthquakes. They're prepared for it. They know how to deal with it for the most part. If we got a big earthquake here, we're not prepared for earthquakes.
No.
We don't know how to deal with them.
Well, it's kind of like what's happening or happened a few weeks ago in the Georgia, Florida area where you had snow,
Right.
and I don't have any snow plows.
Well, when I lived in Georgia, um, it was early 90s, mid 90s. They got their first significant snow, which was a dusting. It wasn't significant, but they could not. Then nobody down there knew how to drive. Nobody down there, they didn't have, there was one snowplow for the entire state of Georgia, and no salt, no anything, because they don't get that stuff. So
Yeah,
they had to borrow a bunch of stuff or beg or steal stuff from other states around them to clear up the mess, which, you know, me and my manager at the time, he was from New York. I'm from Ohio. We're used to snow. We looked at it and went, this isn't snow. I mean, it was barely a dusting, but when you're not prepared for it,
yep.
so
I was in
I
Prescott, Arizona in what I guess would have been about 1987, maybe 88. I don't remember. And yeah, they got a dusting of snow. And they got out the sand trucks and the snow plows and made a big production. It was all gone by 10 o'clock in the morning. It was like you couldn't tell that anything whatsoever had been done, except there was a little bit more sand on the streets.
yeah. Well, now I will Georgia actually, after when I was down there, after a couple of days, they did actually get an inch, 2 inches of snow, which still wasn't much by what we're used to, but you know, eh, you- they did actually get something that was significant to them, but they were panicking over a dusting. I
Yeah.
mean, just absolutely panicking.
In my life, there have been two earthquakes here in Ohio, in this area. One was in 1969. I was outside going, "Oh, this is cool." Um, and Mom was tripping because she didn't know if I was inside the house or outside, and I wasn't sure why she was screaming. Um, but it was obvious. I mean, it was not a did something just happen. It was a what the hell was that? And the second one was I was in a big brick farmhouse. It was probably 1974 or five, maybe six. And that was interesting. That one I was old enough to realize how fragile a pile of bricks is in an earthquake.
Yeah. Well, it
Well,
has the mortar has no tensile strength,
Right.
so
Neither do bricks.
I'm
Neither do
yeah,
bricks.
yeah. But the thing that's holding the wall together is um, it has no tensile strength, and it can do a major job on brickwork.
Yeah. Actually, we didn't see any damage. The home was ancient. It had been built starting at about 1790. The bricks were made on the property, and the bottom floor was four courses thick, and the top floor was three, and the second floor sat on that one brick wide lip. Oh, neat house. It was cold in the winter. Oh, fireplaces all over the place, just sucking any warmth right out of it.
Yeah.
according to Ohio's earthquake database. Warren County had one in 2025.
Really?
How many, what on the Richter scale?
2.3.
Yeah, that you can barely feel 2.3.
Yeah, no, I know. I remember they said we had one, and I was like, we did?
Yeah,
Where was I? I did not know there was such a thing.
Um, and
Sort by magnitude.
I am not spelling Hamilton right, apparently.
Had a
There it is.
5.0 in Lake County in 1986.
Yeah. Lake County apparently is getting quite a few because
where's Lake County?
Lake County
I'm assuming
is,
Cleveland area.
yeah, I would think so. I, I think
Because there's
that's
a Lake County in California also, and they get serious earthquakes. When you get up around 4, you start seeing things falling off of shelves and stuff like that.
Lake County is, yeah, it's Cleveland basically, mostly. But it's out in the middle of Lake Erie.
Shelby is halfway between Cleveland and Columbus.
No, that'd be around Mansfield.
Mhm.
Yeah.
According to the recent seismic events, January 11th, Lake County, it was a small one, 2.3, 2.1, and then January 5th was a 2.9, and yeah, right around 2, but apparently they're getting them more frequently up there.
We have a lot more than I ever would have expected.
All ours are small. Well, most of ours are small. They're not real they're not real huge, I don't think. And at least around here they're not. Shelby got a 5.4 and Lake got a 5. That was, well, Shelby was in 1937 and Lake County was in 1986. So I would say we don't get them often enough to.
Yeah.
So I sorted by date to try to find what I felt, and I'm not seeing anything at all in 69. There's one in 67, 68, and then it jumps to 74. And that one was in Wood County. And in 75, there was one in Galea. There's a 3.3 in 75. That might have been it. That was in Sandusky. That's pretty far north.
Our, I seem
Where's
to
Mercer?
Mercer County is, that's north too, isn't it? Is that Toledo?
What a weird way to do things. You can sort by month separately from by year. So how many of them happen in August? Or how many of them happen at the 33rd second of the hour? That is so bizarre.
Somebody likes to play with numbers.
Mercer County is Salina. There isn't much else out there. Salina's probably the biggest city there. It's up 127.
Oh, okay.
Um, it's 100 miles from my house, so it's up there a ways. Every time they do a tornado warning, though, Mercer County usually comes up, so must be large flat farmland out there or something.
Well, if it's north of the lateral moraine, basically, it's pretty flat up there.
Yeah.
You get south of there, you start to get some hills and
Yeah.
so forth and so on.
Uh, uh yeah, I seem to recall it's probably been 10 or 15 years ago. It's probably maybe 20 years. I seem to recall we had a decent earthquake in this area, and it shook some stuff off, but it was another one of those earthquakes that if you weren't it was almost like a large semi truck drove past and just kind of shook the walls. And if you weren't really paying attention, you wouldn't have never known that you were in an earthquake. But I didn't see that one either, so I don't know.
Well, when you get up around 6.5, I can tell you, you, you definitely notice things start collapsing and
Well, it looks like
According to this list, the highest ever was a 5.4.
yeah.
That was in like 1776.
oh,
Yeah.
that was that.
So
You're
that was
talking
a,
about here in Ohio.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So that one was probably a, wow, that was really bad. It's a pity we don't have any instruments that can accurately measure it.
Mhm. Yeah. I
well,
was going to
that's
say in 1700, I wouldn't thought that, I mean, in 1906, they didn't have good instrumentation. They had instrumentation, but
1776. We're we're guessing that that's what this was. Somebody write it down. They don't even have a month or a day. They just know that it happened, apparently.
I'd considered building a seismometer. It's a thing I have an interest in. You can buy one as a add-on hat for a Raspberry Pi,
yes.
and it's like $800. And I mean, it's a spring, a magnet, and a coil of wire, and some decent amplifiers. I will give the amplifiers are really fancy on those things. But holy crap, there can't be that much in there.
Well, considering that they were playing around with that stuff, what, in the late 1800s? You
Raspberry
probably,
Pis?
I don't
no,
think so.
no, the seismographs. The
Yeah. Well, the
you
seismograph,
you probably could make something.
there was a lot of work being done on it in the late 1800s,
Yeah.
but
Well, Vicente's here. Hi,
Salute.
Vicente.
All right.
So, yeah, it's all very interesting.
we could commission Vicente to build a seismometer.
What for?
to
Measuring
monitor
earthquakes.
all the earthquakes Ohio gets. All, all of them.
Yes.
There's a surprising number.
They're
Little ones.
yeah, a bunch. We get quite a few little ones, mostly up north. They're kind of, you know, my the oldest kid, she lives in Kentucky, and I think they got one not too long ago. So it's not like they don't happen. It's just
Well,
they're
it depends on
infrequent.
depends on how deep they are also, because if it's a deep fault, um, it can be pretty damaging. For instance, well, Loma Prieta, which was in 1989, I think, which is one that did a lot of damage in the Bay Area. And then there was another one, I think in 71 in Southern California that, you know, dropped freeway overpasses and that kind of thing. And that's pretty serious. I mean, last thing you want to be is on some flyover when there's that earthquake hits.
So here's an interesting thing about there's a McDonald's in Monroe, which is in Butler County, Ohio. Now, according to the earthquake tracking chart, Butler County has never had an earthquake, which I find kind of hard to believe, but Butler County has never had. So, anyway, the owner of this McDonald's wanted to tear down the McDonald's and rebuild a newer, better, bigger, nicer McDonald's. Monroe approved the thing, but only if he made it like a Force 5 earthquake proof thing.
That's
And I'm sitting there going, even when they were talking about this years ago, I'm going, yes, we get earthquakes. I don't think we've ever gotten one that's been like that. I mean, anywhere close to that. And I guess they finally worked out a deal because he finally tore it down and built one. But I couldn't believe they wanted the building to be earthquake proof, especially given the history that Butler County may not have ever had an earthquake.
Might be they wanted it to be a shelter. There's already food there.
Maybe. I don't know. Monroe is a strange city. We lived there for a while, for 3 or 4 years. Um, they didn't want the casino in, but they let the Hustler store in.
Yeah.
We don't want the casino because that would signify depravity and whatever. Hustler, come on in.
Well, okay, to be fair, Hustler was there for years and years and years. And Larry built that just to piss off Cy Lease.
Yes, I know. And
If you've never seen it, I strongly recommend everybody see Larry Flint versus what is the name of the movie? It's hilarious.
I kind of
The People
remember.
versus Larry Flint.
Yeah, I kind
Yeah.
of remember Monroe had a problem with them, and he built it anyway. And then Monroe was just kind of like, okay, I guess you pay a fine or whatever.
brought in a lot of revenue, I'm sure.
Well, that's just it. The casino wanted to be in Monroe. They were willing to do profit sharing and all this other stuff with the city. The city didn't want them, so they built just right at the city line, right on the city line. So now they don't have to share profits. It goes to the county or whatever. It's and Monroe still has to do fire runs and whatever out to them because they've got a deal with the county to do fire runs and some police calls go out there. It's like you guys are just dumb. The city council's just dumb. You're not getting any of that revenue. But I don't know.
On the movie, just a minute, I am absolutely certain that Larry played Cy just to twist the knife again.
Is that the one where um
It's really just about his life and
yeah, but
leading up to him appearing in court, and after. It's so one of the reasons I have an interest in this is I took a class in ethics and law and whatnot, and I was actually in the courtroom when Larry Flint appeared on trial here in Cincinnati. It was absolutely hilarious. The man is far more intelligent than anybody gives him credit for.
was this before or after he was shot?
It was after. He was in a wheelchair at the time. But yeah, everybody should watch that movie. It really is funny.
Well, who played Flint in that movie?
Woody Harrelson.
Yes. Okay, I remember that specifically. I saw that movie. And Flint played the judge.
Yeah, I kind of remember when that went in and the city council was not happy that it was there and blah 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 and then it started bringing them a bunch of money and they kind of chilled out a bit.
It's amazing how money does that to folks.
Yeah.
Well, Monroe's just I don't know. I liked living in Monroe. They're growing. It's a larger town now, but they've still kind of got that small town attitude. They don't want a whole lot of stuff, but they want a whole lot of stuff as long as it's on the outskirts of the town. All their warehouses, all their industrial places are all on like right at the the line, right at the city limits. None of them are actually in town.
So where is Monroe for somebody who is not familiar with the area?
Um,
It's on I-75, just north of Cincinnati. Do you know where Melting Butter Jesus is?
No.
Really?
touch
Oh my
he
God.
he used to be Touchdown Jesus.
Yeah.
Is this inner or outer of the 275?
Outside of 275, about 12, maybe 15 miles.
Okay.
It's before you get to Dayton by quite a bit.
Okay.
There's this huge
After the
statue
outlets.
of Jesus on the east side of I-75, just
Yeah.
past
The
Oh,
outlets.
shoot. Treasure Isles, and I don't remember the name of the other one. And at one point, it got hit with lightning, and the thing's made out of styrofoam and fiberglass, and it just caught on fire.
Yeah.
And there are some beautiful 911 calls of, y'all, I'm not going to believe this, but melting butter Jesus is. There is a YouTube bit on this.
Ohio touchdown, Jesus. So,
I think that was an earlier version.
that's the one
I
that caught
think
on fire.
I thought that one was taller. I thought it was more than
No, the current version is the tall one.
the current one is I caught a fish this big.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. The current version is um
so the first one gets hit by lightning, so they build it taller. Some folks
Well,
just don't learn.
well, I- all the God always said, don't build graven images.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, no, I think I
It was 2010. Looks like June 13th.
that's when it got hit by lightning.
yeah.
Yeah. At like 9:30 at night.
It had been there a while too. It's not it didn't just happen. It had been there for years and then all of a sudden it wasn't. But the new version has lightning arresters and all kinds of other stuff in it.
And
So
it's fireproof, the new one.
I think so. I think it's supposed to be. I don't know if they ever tested that, but I think it's supposed to be. And I think that the new one, I think it's really the same size as the old one, but it's a standing statue, the whole thing instead of. Yeah, I remember that my one of my friends at the time I was using Facebook, and one of my friends sent pictures of it on fire from across the street from over there at uh, Trader's
Treasure
World.
Isles. Actually, that was probably from the interstate.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
really curious how many cars stopped.
Of course.
But yes, if you ever want to know where Monroe is, just type in touchdown Jesus, Ohio, and you'll find it.
Yep.
There's there's Monroe.
There are a lot of interesting stories around that church and the horse farm on the other side of the road, and some of the ways that that church got its money to start.
So this
Yeah,
is not just a statue, it's a church.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Yeah. And I don't think I think the the well I'm pretty sure that the person who owned the horse farm died and they don't own that horse farm
Yeah.
anymore. Um and I think at some point they had disassociated themselves with the church to probably to try to stop all the rumors about about how they got their money. So it's kind of interesting. So I don't know if you guys read the email or not. I've been playing around a little bit with some AI models,
Right?
and one's running a problem right now. Can you see that?
Can you expand it a little bit, a little bigger text?
Maybe.
That would be an absolutely. Oh,
Ah! Now I don't know where I'm at on the screen. Um, so this one is a logic problem, and I'm asking uh the Quinn AI, the Quinn 3 AI model to solve this problem. And it actually came up with an answer that wasn't right, but it came up with an answer and said final, and then it started questioning whether or not it was actually right.
Was not right, but was fast.
Actually, this particular model is a little slow. It's been chunking away at this problem for a couple hours now.
Now, you do this on your own hardware or?
Yes. And I mean, I will admit that the computer that I am running this on is underpowered for what I'm doing. But amazingly enough, it seems to work. It works pretty well. Um, there's only been a couple of them where they haven't really worked out real well, and I'm sure that it's something else. But you can see I'm scrolling back, and you can see just there's we're starting to get to the top, but somewhere it came up with a solution to the problem, and then it started questioning whether or not that solution was right, which it absolutely should because the solution was wrong. But now it seems like it's stuck in a loop. It's just keeps questioning itself over and over and over again.
what was the original query?
I'm trying to get to it. We're getting there, I think.
It looks like one of those logic table puzzles
It
where,
that that's exactly what it is. It's one of those logic table puzzles. So, um, here's the original. A teacher writes 6 words on a board. Cat, dog, has, max, dim, tag. She gives 3 students, Albert, Bernard, and Cheryl, each a piece of paper. The teacher explains that each piece of the paper contains a different letter from one of the words written on the board, and those 3 letters combined spell one of the 6 words above. Then she asks Albert, "Do you know the word?" Albert immediately replies, and that's one of the key words is immediately. And he replies, "Yes." She asks Bernard, "Do you know the word?" He thinks for a moment and replies, "Yes." Then she asks Cheryl the same question. She thinks and replies, "Yes." What is the word? So there's a few different ways to get to the correct answer.
so the only way would be if Albert has a word that only has a single, I'm sorry, that Albert's letter must only appear in a single word. And my guess is Max.
Well, Max has an A, Cat has an A, and has an A.
But
So,
if Albert has an X,
well, but if Max or if Albert has an X, Bernard would have either an A or an M. So his words would either be Max or dim. So he couldn't decide based on Albert's
but he
original answer.
also has Albert's knowledge that he has a letter that only appears in one word.
Yes,
And he can see that A appears in multiple.
right.
So he has to intuit that Albert has, let's see, everything else appears twice except for O. O is only in one word.
How
Ooh,
about I?
I is only in one word. I
well,
mean,
shit.
you're on the right track. It's there's a couple of different ways to get to the right answer, or the answer that they say is right.
Okay, so it can't be any of the words that have letters in. No, never mind. All of them have at
All
least one spare.
all of them share at least, well, yes, all of them at least share something in common with each
There
other.
are two M's, there are two A's, there are two G's.
There's three A's, four A's. There's
Okay,
four
who's
A's.
counting?
Hey, you sound like an AI. But you're on the right track. You need
Well,
to
C only appears once.
C only appears once.
I only appears once.
Yeah. H only appears once. S only appears once.
O only appears once.
M appears twice. X appears once. D appears twice. So if you wrote it out in one of those chart things, I think you'd get it. But
Okay, so do you know what the actual answer is?
I know what the answer is. I worked on it for probably 20 minutes and came up with two possible words. I know what they say the answer should be, and I'm not exactly 100% sure how they got there, but I will believe that they're right because one of the words that they say is one of the words I came up with. So, and basically this AI model, came up with the other word. So it came up with two words that it could be. It came up with the opposite word that it should be. I wrote out like a little chart thing that kind of flagged where everybody was. This thing's
So
been chunk.
is it looking at the different letters as uh, like letter A from this word, letter A from another word, letter A from the other word? Is it looking at that as three distinct different letters, or is it just saying, "Hey, I have an A, and that's the only one I'm allowed to have"?
Well, we could go back down here and look. There's
Because I
the
mean, like, if you think of it like the game of Scrabble,
yeah,
and I can have three tiles with the letter A in it.
yeah,
You think of it as permutations, then I'm only allowed to have one letter A.
yeah. I mean, Albert knows immediately what the word is. So his letter is a unique letter. It's only in one word. So
Hmm.
so that pretty much rules the A's out right from the start because they're in four words. And that leaves two words. So I mean I know the answer if if you want the answer.
Yeah, I just Googled it and found it. I'm looking through to see if their logic fits.
Googling is cheating.
Eh, okay.
Eh. It seems to work. I came up with two words, but I did it the hard way. Once I realized that no matter what, that Albert couldn't have the A, then I went, oh, well, okay, that makes perfect sense. He either has this word or this word. Because the A is it's common among four of the other things. You couldn't figure out what the other word was with if somebody had the A. But this thing's been do what? This thing's been chunking away at this problem for a while now, though.
So what have you got it running on?
Uh, well, a seriously underpowered machine. It's only a quad core. It's only got 6 gigs of RAM. It doesn't have a GPU, or at least not a usable GPU. It's a seriously underpowered machine. Um, and amazingly enough, it seems to run most of them just fine. It's just when you give it a hard problem, it seems to take its time.
What impacts the speed with which the hardware resolves the problem? Is it memory? Is it calculation speed? What is it?
Yes.
Yes. I would say yes. Um, if we look The model has a bunch of tokens built into it. There is
You're only giving
know,
it one thread?
it's all it will let me give it.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. The thread size doesn't seem. I've got a laptop behind me running with 16 gigs of RAM, um, and an actual GPU that's an actual usable GPU, and it's running dog slow, and it's got 6 cores. But when I lowered the thread size down to something else, something smaller, it picked up speed like that, and it just started kicking results out. So I'm not exactly sure how that works, but it almost seems like the more threads you give it, it slows it down. Maybe it thinks too much. And I actually had that one, the laptop, actually give me the correct answer. Its logic was completely wrong, but it gave me the correct answer.
I'll be right back.
I'll be right here.
Show the question again at the top.
Stop. I could go back up. Yes. Hello.
Here.
This is where it's talking to itself basically. It's saying if Albert has this, then Bernard would have this, and but Bernard has this, and it's shared with everything else. Um, where it's trying to figure out, the matrix that it needs. So, you know, if Albert has C, which is unique to the cat, and Bernard, who's the second person, so Albert could immediately say, yes, I know what the word is because he has the C for cat. But Bernard, if he had the A, he could not deduce which letter or which word he had because A is in 4 of the words. Not even if he knew uh, something else. And then the third student, she couldn't deduce because uh, Bernard had A, so she couldn't deduce she had because she would have to have a T, an S, or an X. And I mean that's the cycle. Somewhere down in here it actually told here's so
Oh,
if O is unique, Albert knows instantly what the word is. And then Bernard would either have a D or a G. He could deduce because Albert knows instantly he could deduce that it's either dog or dim, and he could deduce which one it is. And Cheryl could do the same thing.
Would you like to borrow
Okay.
some serious hardware to toss at that thing?
Some serious hardware. Like,
An NVIDIA A40?
maybe. See what it could really do. See, my problem is when you get down to it, I mean, the answer is dog, but it could either be dog or dim. And the logic that they use seems to me like Cheryl, who would have the final letter, would either have an M or a G, and she couldn't figure out which word it was other than dim or dog. I mean, at least that's what it seems to me.
You go back up to the main question.
I can try.
So I can get a snapshot of it.
Hmm.
The link I just posted is the puzzle and the logic.
Yeah, you got it. You got it, Ray?
Yes.
Okay. There, I killed it.
And that link I just posted is the A40. That's one that's 6 years
Oh,
old. I
oh,
have two of those,
oh.
and
Uh,
I've never tried to run a model on them.
oh, that's a scary price.
Yeah.
Without power supply.
I
Yeah, that thing draws about 900 watts,
yeah, I don't know if
and
I
it
would
needs
have
its own special fan.
I don't know if I would have anything that could actually run that.
I don't.
Um, so there's different models. Like I'm using the Quinn 3 4B 2507 model, but there's also one called Quinn 3 4B 2507 thinking, which has reasoning to it and has a different set of logic to it. And it's been chunking away just thinking for like 4 hours now. I'm about ready to kill it because I don't think it's actually going to think. I don't think it's going to give me an answer. I've had a couple of models that have just timed out and just said, no, done. I had one model that it started spitting out information and it looked like it was going through the matrix and trying to figure it out, and then it just stopped and I could not get it to restart. And I don't know what its deal was. So I'm actually I'm kind of impressed that they run as well as they do on seriously underpowered hardware. That Language Studio is pretty cool. That LM Studio software. So I'll put a link. It there's it when you install it or when you use it the first time, it recommends a couple of different models to download, but it has like a model store where you could go and just search and find models specifically for what you want to do. My own opinion, I have found that the Quinn 3 models all seem to work well or well enough. And there's a model called LFM2, which I wish I would have made because those are my initials, but those seem to work really well. The one that did not seem to work well, well, actually, it worked too well, I guess. DeepSeek. Um, I asked it a different problem, and after about 12 hours of it chunking away at this problem, I finally just stopped it. It got itself caught in a loop where it rethought the problem so many times that it started spitting out Japanese.
So, like many AIs, it went insane.
Pretty much. And I kind of went, mm, the original it I asked it to write an original story in set in Star Trek universe, and it wrote it. I gave it specific topics to hit and whatever, and it wrote it, and it looked great. And then it said, but what if it was this? And it rewrote it. And then what if it was this? And it rewrote it. And I went, okay, this is the only model that's done that so far. And it rewrote it. It wrote a freaking book. There's probably 40 pages of stuff that it wrote, and it wasn't done. And it got itself caught in a loop, and it started spitting out Japanese. And I'm like, maybe Chinese. I don't know. So I just stopped it. I just said, okay, you're done.
Well, if it was Chinese, it would have been the Firefly world.
But um, I actually think that it was kind of like this one here that has been thinking for a while, but it also was just spitting out stuff that it wasn't thinking about. So I didn't particularly care for DeepSeek. Um, the Quinn 3s seem to work the best, at least on my system. The one called Minstrel, um, and it seemed like it was pretty fast. And there were two models that I downloaded that I can't load because I don't have enough memory. They have 14B. They have a lot of whatever. And The llama model that I downloaded seems to want to spit everything out as code, not as problem. So I must have downloaded the wrong model. It must be for coding. I'm having fun playing with these stupid things. Probably need that to be bigger, don't you? Too big. Just give me an answer. One of them, I don't remember which one. It kept saying, A was in dog and A was in another word that it wasn't in, and I'm like, okay, so you don't know how to spell. See, I think this one's caught itself in a loop because I keep seeing the same thing over and over from it too. I'm probably just going to end up stopping it.
Does your answer explain that Albert has a unique letter?
No,
And no,
no, it's supposed to be able to deduce that because Albert immediately knew what the answer was.
because he has a unique letter that only fits in one of those words.
Right. Because he was able to immediately say what the word was.
So his letter has to be either I, O, or an S, or an X. Okay? So it has to be one of the unique letters.
Mm-hmm.
Then that means that he knows this is the only possible answer. So you should be able to deduce that he has a unique letter, but we don't know which one.
Right.
That eliminates the words that have non-unique letters.
But every word up there has, well, I think 4 of the words have unique letters. 5 of the words have unique letters. 4 of the words. So if you realize that um the next person, Bernard or whatever his name is, couldn't deduce anything if Albert had an A, for instance, he couldn't deduce anything. So that eliminates a bunch of letters right then, or a bunch of words right then. And if Bernard had the D, it could only be dog or dim. And if he had the G, it could only be dog or tag. And tag would have already been eliminated because it's got a common A. So Bernard could say, I know what the word is.
The only way that he could say it is if he has a completely unique word, which is not going to be anything with an A. And his letter has to be either O, a G, or an I, or an M. But
Who, Bernard?
the first guy, Howard. Oh, no, not an M. So his has to be dog.
Yeah.
His word has to be, his letter
Unique.
has to be an O. First guy, his
Yep.
letter has to be an O.
It has to be. I mean, you could eliminate a bunch of them. His letter has to be O. But that's what you're supposed to be testing, or what you're testing the AI for, to see if it can deduce who actually knows what's going on. This model that I'm using right now on this laptop claims that it has deductive reasoning built into it. So that's why I've been letting it go for as long as I have, because I really want to see if it can figure this out. I don't know. That that last model on the other machine, I asked it all kinds of questions, ethical questions and all kinds of stuff. I've got it to tell me the rules that it follows, um, how it comes to some of the conclusion that it comes to, and why it is wrong on some of the conclusions that it comes to. Um, it's been quite interesting to play with that particular model. That particular model is quite interesting. Nobody's saying anything.
Well, I think that Albert, he has a unique letter that is in only one of the words.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you say immediately, I know what the answer is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? The rest of the question goes to the idea that solvable or unsolvable. So the second person says, well, he knows it and it's a unique letter, then it is unsolvable if it's an A on the second student, second
Yep.
person. Okay? but they did find an answer. They found it correctly, supposedly. And the third person also has, you know, a contribution to say, hey, it is solvable. But the second and the third person have unique or non-unique letters.
Well,
But the first person
if you if you look D and M are both shared by other words. So they're not unique letters, but they can deduce what the word is by deducing what the student in front of them has.
but they don't know what the person in front of them has.
No, but they can.
All they know is it's unique. He immediately knew the answer because
Right.
he had a unique letter.
So if Bernard has the D, his options are either dog or dim. If
Right. So he can't have either one of those. If he had the D. So you have to deduce that he did not have the D.
okay,
Not unique. Okay. So then you go to the next letter. Like A. Well, he can't answer it because A is in too many locations.
right.
So then, well, did he have the C, the O, the X? Or the I?
Right.
So then you're reducing it to COXI. So he can answer it if he has immediately, if he has one of those four. The next person takes only those words that are available
Mm-hmm.
and says, well, if that next person has an A, unsolvable.
Yep.
If the next person has a T, unsolvable.
Yep.
If they have a D, it's unsolvable. No, it's
If they have a D, it's the possibility of two words.
yeah, it's possible of two words. A or yeah, dog or dim.
So if the third person has a G, that's the possibility of two words, dog or tag. And tag has already been eliminated because A is not unique.
T is not unique and G is not unique. So it couldn't be tag.
It couldn't be tag. No, you come down to, in my own opinion, you come down to two words on everybody except for the first guy. The first guy knows for a fact what it is. The other two come down to two words, either dim or dog. And I'm not real sure how they get to dog, but dog is the correct answer, at least according to the internet. Because the third person can deduce what the second person had. The second person can deduce what the first person had. At least that's my understanding of how this puzzle works.
I have other immediate priorities to look at. Sketch this out. Yeah. It was nice to listen to you guys while I do this other thing.
Oh, did Vicente solve this?
No, Google.
Google. Ah, see, that's cheating. Google is cheating.
I just copied the image you put of the test, just the image, I put on Google, and it did the rest. 1 second, less than a second. Like,
Yeah, Google also knows where the original problem came from, doesn't it?
I just put this image that I take from your
Yeah.
screen, and that's all. He did the OCD, the character recognition, and solved everything in less than a second.
Okay, so there's no doubt that the chatbots and the AI that are online are a whole lot faster than running a model on my own machine.
And we already paying for that. My electric bill
Yeah,
went down like 40%. The, my demand was down, but the price keeps keeps the same price because they increase everything,
yeah,
transportation, everything. So we are paying for the AI infrastructure
yeah.
already.
I'm on even billing, which I really appreciate, but I am scared what my bill is going to go up to in the next, what is it, 3 months, I think,
Oh,
because they're going to start even billing me for whatever it should be next year.
oh. I have considered doing even billing. We're not behind, but I really would like to know what it's going to be every month. So,
It's handy. I've never been screwed because of it, I don't think. I pay attention to usage and
but the
what
only
power costs.
the only thing that I know about it is if you move or something, you've got to pay the bill up front, whatever's left, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You remember my infrared gun, the image to check the cold spots in the
Mhm.
house? Well, I fixed everything, and the actual consumption was 40% less than the last year, the same month. But they multiply by three the transportation of the electricity, of the energy, so the price keeps the same.
Mm.
They argue that they need to upgrade the infrastructure
Mm-hmm.
because of the demand. So there are the AI centers who are demanding more energy, and we are paying for the upgrade of the
Yeah.
network. But it's a lot. It's 3 times more.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. Um, I'm trying something different because I think I can just go from the Google when we get the approved for a meeting and I could just tell it to add it to the calendar. So instead of making a whole big list every month.
Mhm.
So I made us a Google Calendar.
I couldn't go forward in your calendar. I don't know why.
You couldn't go forward? Hmm.
I tried to change the month, and I only saw this month in the calendar. I will check again later.
That's interesting. I don't know. Maybe you have to select a day if you
No,
do that.
no, I didn't.
No, I don't know. But I don't know. So maybe this isn't going to work the way I think. And next week I have a school function to go to. So
So the
that
meeting will be in the school meeting.
so the meeting will be in the school. No, I will be on the road probably driving to the school.
Okay.
So hopefully Steve can do the meeting
So
next
you
week.
can make the meeting Ray style driving.
Yeah, that'd be scary. I bring the meeting to order. Okay, I'm crashing.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
I'm kind of impressed that I can see the Google Calendar and I can move forward and back.
Yeah. But do you see any date or any the apart from the main page? I move the month and see nothing.
I mean, I'm up May, June. I don't see anything for June. I
No,
see up to May.
yeah, yeah. May is the last. It's too early to add anything for June.
Let me check the Google. Where's this? Google Calendar. Okay.
And if you click on one of those things, it should bring up a more detailed.
March. Now there is dates in March. Okay. It's
So when
So
I
working.
click on more details, I really don't get any more details other than that it's in coordinated universal time.
No, I have
yeah, mine doesn't really say more deep. The more detail part, no. But if you just click on,
on the message on the notes.
yeah, on the note, then it
Yeah.
tells you a little bit more.
But
But
you
Oh,
have more info in March. When you move to March, there is full of information in the meeting. You have the address, the time, everything.
yeah.
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Thursday, 5 of March is full of information.
Mm-hmm. And it tells you that it's late starting time
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
and maybe we'll eat dinner afterwards, maybe.
Uh, but doesn't say the restaurant.
It
You
doesn't
must
say the restaurant.
feel it. Yeah. Because we always have a problem with that. Choosing, you can solve this and have the reservation done, the restaurant.
They all of them should, if it says Westchester, it should have the address.
Hmm.
Um, and if it doesn't, I can fix that. Yeah, they all they all have
Yeah,
the address.
virtual doesn't have address. That's why
Do what? Which one doesn't have address?
the virtual meetings doesn't have
Oh,
address.
no, no, no. The virtual
The-
meetings don't have an address.
yeah, that's why you see different
There's
information.
the virtual meetings are pretty slim. I think we know what's going on.
Hmm. Just the
But there's one of these that I don't remember. I'll put it when it actually happens. I'll make sure that everybody knows. But there's one that ends 15 minutes early, and there's one that starts like 45 minutes late. So I think March 5th March 5th starts late. Like really late.
5:45.
5:45, yeah. So that but I'm pretty sure that I can just take and click the link that the library sends me and just add it right to the calendar and maybe add or you know and then that way everybody will have one calendar and it will be less of a pain to make sure everything's updated and whatever.
So I have a question not related to anything we've talked about here. My middle kid is looking at buying a house in Miamisburg that currently has a about a 35 foot maybe antenna tower that he doesn't want because his girlfriend doesn't want it. Does
What's the
anybody?
solution to that?
Well, yeah. Um, he'd rather keep the girlfriend though.
Oh,
So, so if he gets the house, would anybody like to have a antenna tower?
I'll take it.
Yeah, we were looking at Ray.
Take it. We'll find a home for it.
Okay.
We'll even help you take it down. Nice.
Yeah, that was the important part. I don't have a problem with climbing one, but I don't know if I want to be loosening screws up on one while I'm on it.
A little BLC4.
What it is
Yeah.
or what kind it is.
how tall is it?
I 30, maybe 35 feet.
Oh, okay.
It's not huge. I'm assuming that the sections are 8 feet each and that it's got 4 of them.
Is it a crank up or is
No.
it?
No, it's one of those triangular ones.
Okay.
So generally it's going to be a Roan or American Standard. So it's either like got wire lattice or it's got pipe lattice. It tells you which one it is. The Roan has wire lattice and the American Standard has a pipe lattice. That's if it has parallel piping down the sides. If it has tapering piping, then that's another brand. Or it could just be a completely, odd brand. Hopefully it's not rusted. Hopefully it's not rusted together. But a lot of times, a smaller section is concreted into the ground with about 3 feet in the ground itself, in the concrete. The top section generally somewhere between 4 and 6 feet tall because it's used for the mast, and they'll put a rotor on that section, so it'll have like a rotor mounting plate, or should, whatever it's called. But a lot of times what we do is we'll cut one of the legs at the bottom, and we'll notch the other two so that they can tip over. We'll have some like a skid to keep it from, if it breaks loose, it doesn't kick back to with a rope connected to a truck or to let it down. But we'll also have like a support, 2x4s or something that we can hold on to in the middle. If it gets really heavy, we're trying to touch it at about so many feet from the base and try to break it down and there's a whole mechanical lever on it. It feels like it's really, really heavy. I've probably dropped about 6 antennas before, different places. It's not difficult. The difficult part is if the sections are if they're stuck together, how to get them apart. And we just use a couple of boards and a bottle jack. My dad and I have been doing this for 5 years. Just helping people take antennas down. And a lot of times it's been old.
This one ain't new. Here's a picture of it. The braces are parallel and run up to the top. It's got
American
a
standard.
what?
The American standard.
Okay.
Oh, that's gonna be fun because yeah, I don't say that nicely either.
It's in
Can't
between
just-
two buildings.
Yeah, it's between the house and the overhang awning.
Yep.
Yeah.
Have fun with that one, Ray.
I,
Did you say that you think the sections on that are 4 feet long?
no. A lot of times the bottom section is 4 feet long, and the top section will be like 6 feet, something like that.
How you need to plan how to remove this. It's inside the home, the house or something.
That's going to be a fun one for somebody.
Yeah.
I thought you said that was going to be you, Ray.
And the roof looks very steepy, very, very.
Yes,
It is.
The upper roof.
Somebody's going to have to get up there and do some rope work and whatever, and probably just cut the bolts off and get replacement bolts for it when they put it back up.
Yeah,
And
I was
lower it
assuming it needed to be lowered one section at a time.
and lower it very carefully down.
You're talking about using a
That's why they leave the antenna there. It's no easy to take out.
it's crazy.
So why the girlfriend doesn't want to, okay, but that's a great antenna for over the air TV. I mean,
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely it is. That's free television right there.
That's free TV.
60 channels.
That's kind of what I'm hoping to convince the kid, because I know I'll probably be the one climbing it if he's really adamant about it going away.
No, you're not, man. No way. You should not be climbing that. I mean, nothing against you, okay? I'm old. I don't want to climb it. And I'm grabbing a hold of that thing with both hands, right? I just, there's safety stuff involved. And I let younger people do it since they want to have all that fun. But
Yeah, but the only younger ones there are going to be my kids. If it was somebody else's, maybe, but
okay.
yeah,
I would try to convince them that they need free over the air TV. That's what I would try to do.
Yeah, man. No joke. If they're just complaining that oh, it looks rough. It looks like, yeah, but it looks like free. Looks free. Free television.
Get up there and paint it. Make it look better, but it's free TV.
Myself, I haven't paid for cable TV in a very, very, very long time. I do get Netflix because when I travel, I like to be able to watch movies and stuff. But man, to get 60 channels of free television, that's kind of nice, and it's really clear.
I'm
It's
getting
good.
I'm getting like 45 channels on a little crappy antenna that's inside the house, inside the apartment. I mean,
My
it's
my
it's
antenna went from the chimney on a little bitty pole over to the tower. We raised it 20 something feet, and suddenly I've got all these crispy clear, really nice channels, and because I got all the pine trees and stuff in my yard, nobody really sees the antenna. They don't care about it. But my antenna is probably 8 feet wide, 9 feet front to back, the different elements. But still, as big as that is, on a decent tower, it's not swinging and swaying around in there. And I don't know. At this point, or maybe at his point in his life, having a free broadcast, having that available television, it's nice. Now, if they're the kind of people that they gotta have Fox Sports and all the other stuff that comes with cable television, then maybe they just don't want broadcast.
but it's free.
But it's free. Exactly. There's already complaints about the cost of electricity. If you could save yourself an extra $70 a month, $30 a month, I don't know if it's worth it. Who's going to complain? I get like at least 5 channels of cartoons every day, all day long.
Yeah.
I got, oldies and westerns on 5 more channels. I can pick up Indianapolis stations, State, Columbus, Cincinnati. And depending on how big the station is, I can pick up Covington. Oh, gosh. If I were to point straight down, I might be able to pick up Lexington. I know I'm on a bit of a hill, and I don't have anything between me and Lexington. But I kind of like free.
Yeah. I've got a HD home run and just a little antenna up in the attic. And I just counted, I've got 73 channels. A lot of them are repeats, but a lot of them aren't.
I get like 40, 45, 47 channels on a crappy antenna inside the house. I get most of the Dayton station. I get a couple of Cincinnati stations, but I know I could get more stations if I had an antenna outside, but I get decent deal for what I get, for what I've got. And for the fact that I live in an apartment and I can't put an antenna up.
Yeah.
So,
If I lived in an apartment, I would probably pay for cable TV. Because I just can't put up a tower or couldn't put up an antenna at all.
yeah,
But you remember when my daughter got her amateur radio license?
more or less. Yeah.
So she and some of the other ham radio operators, they bullied me into putting up a new tower at my house. I'm not joking. They were like, "That is so sad. Your daughter got a new amateur radio license, and she don't have no place to put up her antenna." I'm like, "Her antenna, her radio, where'd she get this stuff from?" The club was giving her antenna, giving her coax, and somebody gave her a radio. And I was like, "Oh, this can't be a nice radio." Oh, yeah, it was. At first, they gave her a handy talkie. Then somebody gave her a mobile. And then somebody gave her like a $2,500 radio. I was like, "Oh, my gosh."
That
Like,
doesn't seem right. I want a $2,500 radio.
and the same thing, that's not right. No, an older gentleman died, and his wife was in charge of selling all the equipment. And she basically told one of the other operators, hey, sell the amplifier, sell this, 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 and this. But this nice radio, we want to give it to a YL, a young lady that's new into the hobby. And that wife specifically says, this is going to be a new ham that is a young woman, young lady, and needs a radio and has to have this certain level of amateur radio license. And obviously a place to put it, all that stuff. So once Candace got her mobile radio, I went out and bought her a really nice power supply that would handle any radio. And then she upgraded her license and got the new radio. She wasn't asking for it, not begging for it or nothing. They were just like, oh yeah, you got your license? Okay, here you go. Every time she went somewhere, they were like, hey, you want to be the ticket girl? You're the girl that pulls the tickets out for the raffle. Okay, well, do you want to show this to everybody? Do you want to show people how Morse code works? Hey, let me give you a all expenses paid vacation to go to Curacao, South America, and teach people about Morse code communication. So she got to go down there. I don't know if you can remember that. My dad went down to Curacao with her. And I threatened him, don't come back without her. Something happens to her, don't bother coming back to the United States. He was like, what? You be like that? I'm like, hell yeah, I'd be like that. Take my daughter out of the country, you don't come back with her? Yeah, you don't come back at all. Oh, Lord.
Well, they always say there's not enough young people in the hobby, and young women are even more rare in the hobby, so I guess it makes sense. Well, it's
It
after
is.
7. Do what, Ray?
It is rare. It is unique, yes, to have not unique, but it's rare to have young women in the hobby.
Yeah,
At least I was here for more than 4 minutes this time.
it's true. And you showed up more or less on time. So
All right.
it's
Well, good seeing y'all.
7. So we are virtual next week, and hopefully Steve can take care of that.
I can.
So I will not see everybody next week, but I'll see everybody in person on the 5th.
Sounds good.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye bye.